Okay, so we're going to go through some fraction operations. It looks like I'm going to go ahead and do these in terms of word problems, and so we can identify specific operations that we're doing and go through the different types of fraction operations that we have. Over the weekend, Halverson, who has an awesome name, by the way, love that, Halverson, he put together 3/6 of a jigsaw puzzle, while Jamie put together, 3/16, and Jamie put together 10/16. Who completed the greater fraction of the jigsaw puzzle, and by how much? So anytime they're asking about who had the greater fraction, the taller length, the longest distance, and they're giving you two of them, hopefully that triggers subtraction in your mind. This is going to be a subtraction problem, and it looks like we have like denominators here, which is nice. And so I'm just going to say the bigger one minus the smaller one here. So the easy answer to the first part of the question, who had completed the greater fraction of the jigsaw puzzle, well, that's clearly Jamie here. Jamie did 10/16, whereas Halverson just did 3/16. So the first part of my answer I'm going to go ahead and put over here. But it also says, and by how much? And so this subtraction will get me to my answer here. I do have like denominators, so I'm keeping my denominator. That's how we do when we add and subtract. The denominators are the same, we keep them the same. 10 minus 3 is really my arithmetic here. 10 minus 3 is 7. 7/16 is in simplest form. This is my answer. Jamie completed 7/16 more than Halverson. Ubi. Ubi made a banana cream pie. His brother ate 1/3 of the pie. That's kind of a lot of the pie. And his sister ate 2/5 of the pie. How much less? Hey, same kind of question as up here. How much less? How much taller than? How much farther than? All those kind of questions, again, hopefully trigger subtraction in your mind. So how much less did his brother eat than his sister? His sister did eat 1/3, and he did eat 2/5. So, and again, that's just to give you an idea of what we're talking about here. 1/3. 5ths is a little harder to... So 2/5. It's kind of hard just looking at it, seeing which one would be the bigger one there. But I know I'm going to have to find a common denominator, because I am subtracting and I have a denominator of 3 and a denominator of 5. In finding my common denominator, I just use their multiples. And I am finding the smallest common multiple, called the least common multiple. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. It looks like I hit the first one that is going to be divisible by 5, because 5, 10, 15. I know that my common denominator will be 15 for these guys. So the way that this works, how much less did his brother eat than his sister? So his brother ate 2/5. I'm going to subtract what his sister ate, which is, what are we at, 1/3 here? I've already said that my common denominator is 15. So I'm just going to fill that common denominator in there. We multiplied 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll multiply 1 times 5. This is 5/15. We multiplied 5 times 3. 1, 2, 3. So we'll multiply 2 times 3 and get 6/15. Really, what my problem is asking for here is subtracting 6/15 minus 5/15. My denominators are the same. That's just like this problem up here. My denominators are the same. I keep it in my answer. But here I just have 6 minus 5. That will be 1/15. How much less did his brother eat than his sister? Well, only 1/15 less. Not much less. Hardly any less, but less nonetheless. Okay. Knitting. Nastya knitted 2 scarves for her dolls. One was 8 3/4 inches long and the other was 1 1/2 inches shorter than the first. How long was the second scarf? Well, if you start out with, if you start out with this length and the other one was that much shorter, how long was the second scarf? I'm just going subtraction happy with these guys. This is going to be subtraction. I am going to have 8 3/4 minus 1 1/2. Now again, I'm doing subtracting here. I am going to have like denominators. And so let's get those denominators the same. It looks like 2 and 4. And again, you don't have to write this out every time. A lot of the times you're going to realize what that denominator that's common is right away. In this scenario, if the smaller number goes into the bigger number, well, that's your denominator. I'm bringing my 8 over, I'm bringing my 1 over, I'm bringing my subtraction over. My new denominator will be 4. My denominator did not change here. My denominator will not change there. I multiplied this times 2. I'll multiply my numerator times 2. I can now do my subtraction. Because I have 3/4, I can take away 2/4. That would be 1/4. My whole numbers are just 8 minus 1. The second scarf was 7 1/4 inches long. So a couple more fraction operations that we're going to look at here. Jamal filled his gas tank and then used 7/16 of the tank for traveling to visit his grandfather. He then used 1/3 of the remaining gas to run errands around town. What fraction of the tank is filled with gasoline? Okay, so this 1/3 right here, this is actually what he used. They don't want to know what he used. They want to know how much is filled, what he didn't use. And so I'm going to go ahead and go back to the first part of this here. Jamal filled his gas tank and then used 7/16. Well, he started out with all of his gasoline, which is 16/16, but he subtracted 7/16. He used 7/16. So from 7, I'm just going to count it to 16, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I've got 9/16. Now, he used 1/3, but they want to know what fraction of the tank is filled. So I want to find out what he didn't use. He didn't use 2/3. He still has in the tank 2/3. Really what we're finding here is 2/3 of 9/16. Of is something that we teach all year, means multiplication in mathematics. 2/3 of 16. Now hey, multiplication is very nice. I can just multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. I don't have to have in multiplication common denominators. Another nice thing I can do in multiplication is simplify ahead of time. I know that both of these are even numbers. 2 will go into both of them, 1 and 8 times. And on the other side over here, 3 will go into both of these, 1 and 3 times. 3 times 1 is 3. 8 times 1 is 8. 3/8 gallons are still in the tank. And my last one here. Miss Lau rolls out 2 3/4 feet of dough to make noodles. If the noodles are 3/8 of an inch wide, how many noodles will she make? Well, hey, what we're doing is we're taking this and we're splitting it into 3/8 inch sections. This is division. We're taking this and we're dividing it into 3/8 long parts. So as far as how that looks mathematically, we've got 2 3/4 divided by 3/8. Now, in order to do this division, we actually, instead of dividing by the fraction, we multiply by the multiplicative inverse, or the reciprocal. Some people call this reciprocal, which in this case would be 8/3. We call it keep, change, flip. my keep, I need to make this an improper fraction because when I do the multiply, this will be my keep, this will be my change to multiply. I'm going to go ahead and put that. 2 times 4 is 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11/4 times 8/3. Big times bottom plus top to get my numerator. This is my keep, this is my change, this is my flip. Simplifying ahead of time, 4 we're going to those 1 and 2 times. 11 times 2 is 22. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 will go into 22. 7 full times, which is 21. I will have 1 left over there. And that's my final answer.